You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Fargo After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Fargo After Show.
Aw, geez, here we go again, you guys.
Here we go.
It is episode 1, season 1 of Fargo, called The Crocodile's Dilemma. I'm your host, Oriana Leo, and joining me to my left.
Hi guys, I'm Jillian Leff.
I am David Schifilliti.
I'm Sarah Huggins.
And we are back, your favorite fan coven, American Horror Story coven team has reunited. We are so happy to be here, but I have to say, a little tired after a 97-minute season premiere.
Oh my
Thoughts?
So long. Hope and keep my fingers crossed. Not that I didn't enjoy the show. Can we turn this music down a little bit? It's a little loud. Thank you. Not to say that I didn't not enjoy the show, but hoping that the season premiere was extended, like an extended season premiere, because 97 minutes per episode for the entire run of the series would be
It's definitely not going to be
A little
97
much.
minutes per episode, but I'm really wondering why.
right.
I mean, a lot happened in the last, I would say, 30, 35 minutes.
Yeah. It was expository, right? It was an expository episode. We learned a lot about our main characters at this point, which are Lauren Malvo, the weirdo, played by Billy Bob Thornton,
Right.
and Lester, who is just the quintessential loser,
Right.
who is played by, make sure I get him
Future
right,
serial killer in the
Martin
making.
Freeman,
Yeah.
who we know from The Hobbit. So what's amazing is that they have an amazing cast they put together.
Incredible.
But when
Yeah.
you check on IMDb, there's one character that says she's there for 10 episodes, and the rest are only there for about 5 each.
Sometimes,
Who was the one character that's there for 10 episodes? Is it the female cop?
No.
Who is it?
I don't.
Oh, I
felt
think you
like-
said it was one of the wives,
Yeah,
right?
but I felt like we didn't meet her.
But
Maybe we did, and she just doesn't look like her picture.
The pregnant wife?
Yes.
I don't know.
Interesting.
I thought she was somebody else. I mean, I think that the way that they're hooking people into this show is with the cast. You know, we haven't seen much of Billy Bob Thornton lately. He delivers, obviously, in this role. He is like the quintessential creep, although David and I think he's like just creepy enough to open mouth kiss. But
That's just the two of
disgusting.
you.
Yeah, that's this side.
I
he's
did
kind
not
of like
say
sexy
open mouth
creepy.
kiss.
Okay, I
You
did.
said open
I
mouth
said
kiss.
it.
But I feel like you agreed that you would open
Yeah.
mouth kiss him.
It's only because of his past with Angelina that I am even considering this conversation.
Right. I
Yeah,
mean,
he was
hi-
good enough for her.
His darkness is true Fargo-esque. I think also that's the reason why the episode was so long.
Yeah.
I mean, watching the movie, I personally felt like the movie moved a bit faster.
A bit faster, but also the whole thing was over.
Yeah.
97 minutes later, the entirety of the film was over.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it was 2 hours, but we're just beginning to tell a story.
Right, which leads me to wonder who the story is going to be based upon. Because it started off a lot like the movie, that it's based on a true story in 2006, right? But who is our focus? I mean, at this point, it's sort of split between like the cops, Lester,
Who do you want it to be?
and BB. I kind of wanted to...
BB being Billy Bob,
Bob
being
Thornton.
Lauren.
Yeah, me too.
Sorry.
BBH.
You know me and character names.
Yeah.
But I personally would love to follow the hitman.
Me too.
And I certainly
about you
hope
guys?
that we do. I mean, I think we will for a while. It seems like he comes into town and he's just hell-bent on destruction. I thought he was going to be a hitman, but it turns out he's far more than that.
He enjoys it. He loves pushing
Right.
people's buttons.
Well, he says that there are no rules anymore.
Right.
And that, you know, he compared men to gorillas, I think.
Is that what he said?
I feel like he was talking about the animal instinct of a man and
Yep.
how by doing these things you're even more of a man. Like he said to Lester, you know, you killed him. You're more of a man today than you were yesterday.
Exactly.
And he is just so twisted that I really do hope that it follows him. There are some sort of similarities into the movie. We knew going into this that it was going to follow a completely different cast of characters, but it was going to be Coen Brothers-esque,
Right.
which I think it exactly is.
It certainly is. And they do refer back to Fargo and the crime syndicate there. So we're starting to see, I mean, there was so much exposition in this episode, yet, like you said, the pacing was true Fargo film pacing. It
And
was
true Coen
slow.
Brothers, I feel.
Yeah, definitely true.
I mean, you can tell just by the way it was shot and cinematically and the way that it's been written and the way they're introducing their characters is very typically their style.
Right. So we open up the episode with Lorne Malvo. What a bizarre name. Driving in this car, he hits a deer, and we know that there's somebody that he's transporting in his vehicle, who meets an unfortunate end, but probably was a little nicer than the way he was gonna go out.
I don't know about that.
What do you think?
I feel like being shot or murdered is a lot better than freezing to death in your underwear out in the
I agree.
Ozarks.
But it would be nice and peaceful, don't you think?
Freezing to death?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Quiet.
I feel like it would be horrendous.
I don't think it would be quiet.
Oh my god, you would.
You would just go to sleep.
It's just so
I
funny.
mean, I guess, yeah.
I was expecting Lorne to pull out a gun and just shoot the guy because that happened in the last movie,
Right.
in the movie. And when he just let him go, I didn't quite understand him then putting the deer in the trunk.
I still don't
That's my
understand
question,
it.
yeah.
Does anyone understand
Yeah,
it?
let us know. That is very
Fans.
kind of confusing.
Yeah,
Or
like he let him go because obviously he knew he was gonna die. It's freezing
that was
there.
David's favorite part, the
The man jumping out of the
shirtless
trunk.
man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Shirtless
it
man
was
running.
surprising.
Tighty whities.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just I'm not getting the deer thing, and I don't know if it's just like his sociopathic mind that he's just like
Or maybe he
I want to
respects
play around a little bit.
animals
Oh,
more than he
maybe.
does humans.
I wouldn't be
right.
surprised. I mean, what we're uncovering through his experiences with our favorite loser, Lester,
Yeah.
when he explains to him multiple times. You know, they meet in the ER, and he
Right.
explains that.
I love that scene.
Letting a man do this to you, I mean, he would have killed the guy already,
Right.
right? And he keeps meeting these people along the way, and he wants to pivot their perspective on life.
He's an SHIT stir. That's what he does for a living. Like, yeah, he's a murderer, but like he's a shit stir.
Probably.
I was like, what is the second word that she's
Oh my
saying?
God.
Oh, stir.
Okay.
Stir a pot.
So we see him in the hospital, you know, asking Lester, do you want me to kill him?
Yes
Sam
or no?
Hess, yes or no. And he
Right.
doesn't give an answer, which of course he knows what he's doing. He
Right.
knows that he's going to torture this poor man.
I loved when he went
Or
to
set him free.
his work. It's okay. I just loved when he went to Sam Hess's work and like
Right, and
told
he
them
wants,
off.
it says that he wants to take a good look at him.
Yeah, and that was it.
And creeping out everyone there in
Yeah.
the process. And planting the seeds of hate among the two sons, which he seems to do with glee.
Yes.
And he does it really well and tactfully. He doesn't come out and just say these things like we saw later on with the other boy at the motel. He sort of, I don't know.
He has a way about
He has
him.
a way of saying things that people just want to listen to him.
I'm saying it's kind of hot in a weird way. That's all I'm saying.
That
That's all I'm
is.
saying.
The bangs.
I'm not behind that in any way.
It's
That's the weird clip-in bangs.
the bangs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I
But
mean,
we know he doesn't have any real hair, so this is all like prosthesis, you know?
Yeah.
So we see his Lauren's involvement with murder number one. We don't still know who this guy is, right?
No.
We didn't really find out in the
Murder
source
number
episode.
one?
Yeah.
that-
Oh, the
guy
fat
that
guy?
froze to
The
death.
guy. Oh, okay.
Do you think that
It wasn't-
matters? Do you think it's
Well,
ever
I think it set up the fact that he is a hitman.
Right.
So he was obviously hired for a hit. It really doesn't matter who this
Right.
hit was. It's just that it established the connection. Like there's a person dictating and sending him out to jobs.
right?
Yes.
So what's interesting is that he is being told whom to go, you know, murder, but all the other destruction seems like that's just for fun. Right?
Right. Yeah.
Like, so, you know, talking to Lester in the ER and, you know, getting the idea he should kill this guy, Sam Hess, or whether it's just witnessing the verbal abuse of the mom to the son at the motel.
And him telling him to pee in the
Gas tank. But then to report it, why?
Because I feel like he just enjoys trouble and he takes pleasure in other people's pain.
Yeah.
I mean, the same
really
reason
well
why he
said.
called the son later pretending to be the
Attorney
manager,
or something.
Yeah,
Right, the
whatever,
will,
whoever he
executor of the
was.
will.
Yeah. And telling him that everything's being left to the younger son.
Right. For no apparent reason
I mean, he
other
wasn't
than
even there.
he wasn't even there to enjoy the beating.
No.
that one brother
But he
laid onto
knew that
another.
it was going to happen.
And he gets so much pleasure from that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like a special kind of sociopath we're dealing with, I guess. Right?
Or a genius.
Or Jillian's dream
even
guy.
Jillian, even
I
evil
wouldn't
genius.
say dream guy. I just want to explore his situation. Okay,
Have him tie you
God,
up.
guys, I have a boyfriend. Chill out.
So the other character that we follow so much during this episode is Lester. And
Yes.
his last name is unfortunately
Nygaard.
Nygaard. Is the correct pronunciation, everybody.
I really love
And he's just he's on a path to losing it, as I put in my notes over there.
Sort of like our main character from the film.
He's a simple man.
Yeah.
He's a simple man, but
At first.
we open up with his wife, Pearl, is not happy because so-and-so is getting a fancy TV and so-and-so has a fancy whatever. And
Washer
his
and
brother.
dryer.
it's his brother.
It's his younger brother.
And they're getting all these fancy things, and she seems like...
He's just going through some shiz. Like he's just depressed. You know, like
Yeah.
everyone goes through certain phases in life, and when you see these people having major successes,
I mean, what she says to him is every salesman makes their own wins, which
Right.
is sort of like
I wrote that down.
a dig at you're like, you don't know how to do your job.
Right.
But the worst
All
part
she
is
did
that
was dig.
his depression has been lasting since high school when he was put in that, or in grade school when he was put in the bin.
Right.
The what was it?
A barrel.
A barrel
Never
and
know
rolled into the
how that's
street.
gonna
So it sounds like he's been bullied and had a pretty bad experience for a really long time. And even the people that he thinks love him, like his wife and his brother, we find out in this episode, they're so sick of him and his
Woe is
failings,
me.
I guess.
Yeah.
Well, to that I say, everyone has or knows someone in their life who is sort of down on their,
Disappointing.
just a downer. Right?
I mean, I hate using that word, but I feel like that's kind of.
I wouldn't say disappointing, but they're like constantly like in this depressive mood.
Right.
Right?
Magoo.
And-
Sorry for me.
He's 40 years old, so let's say after 40 years, it's like, come on, man.
Yeah, when are we going to turn this ship around?
When are you gonna look at the brighter side of things and sort of
Right,
take
make something.
responsibility
But
for
he
your
doesn't.
actions?
I mean,
But
he did
does.
later.
He sees
Well,
Sam, right, who talks smack about him, is bullying him in front of his kids,
Right.
is picking on his wife.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how much more he can take, and he literally has been. I felt for him in the sense that you can tell he was so terrorized.
Yeah.
The fact that he would break his own face on a pane of
Right.
glass, from the looks of the man's fist,
Right.
means he
Yeah.
probably got it really bad,
Yeah.
which makes him a sympathetic character. But he's not even that sympathetic because he's such a loser.
He got scary for me too.
an evil
I mean,
loser.
Yeah.
So he goes to his brother's house. We see him at Lester's. We meet Gordo, the child that has the autism.
right. I love
Autism.
that.
And Lester has a beautiful wife. He's handsome.
You mean
really
Chaz
successful.
or the brother?
Yes.
Isn't his brother named Chaz?
I don't know what his brother.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Whatever.
I would
Yeah.
misspoke.
He has a gun closet.
Okay, so what is that about?
I don't know.
The piglet.
He's
Like,
compensating
Okay,
for
so
something.
he.
Right.
That's what I think.
I think he's
Life
a
isn't
guy,
perfect.
and guys like their toys, and he says, "I'm an American.
Therefore,
I think
I should have an illegal
I should have an
machine
illegal
gun.
machine gun. I'm entitled to have this." You know, that's basically what he's saying, right?
And he's
Pretty much.
successful and successful
And he can
men.
afford it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He can.
Look what I can afford. Look what you can't.
And the perfect example of him being like, "Do you want to try it?" And Lester drops it. Doesn't even
Yeah.
know how heavy it is. Doesn't even he doesn't even try.
Well, I think that moment is where the change happened
Right.
in Lester when he
Right.
punched him. Like we didn't see the punch, we just hear about it in the aftermath of the car, and it wasn't even like his wife was proud of him for standing up for himself. She was like, "Why would you do that?" Thinking like this other brother, this other Nygaard is like the perfect husband, and this
Right.
is who I should be with. And that's where the breaking point happened. And then it just sort of manifested to this washing machine, which I knew was going to come full circle. I mean, it had to. There was it was too much of a deal in the beginning that it was so much focus on the washing machine.
I was a little bit shocked that that was the catalyst for what happened.
But I love that because I think that's how
It's
things
brilliant,
happen.
yeah.
Is
Right.
that it's the
You're just
minutia.
like,
it's
you
the
just
little
snap.
thing. Like he was trying to fix it. And she's looking at him like, "You're a loser, you're
I know
pathetic."
she couldn't be like, "Thank you very much."
No.
Good,
Well, he
you
didn't
tried,
fix
and you know
it.
what? But you know what? He tried.
He tried.
He tried.
I'm
and
the
she
crazy
could,
wife that gets killed.
right?
He was trying
You
to
were the
make a
crazy wife
win.
that gets killed. Yes,
right?
I agree.
He was trying to make a win.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
And
Aw.
I know I felt that was a moment I felt badly for him. And then to watch her kind of go, she went into kind of that nasty place.
She egged him on.
She really egged him on. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, she told him he wasn't a man.
Not that she deserved to die.
But that was my favorite part of the episode.
I agree. It was the
Yeah,
most
that was
interesting
when things got good.
and the best. It was definitely the high point of.
I totally agree. The high point was watching Pearl's brains get bashed in.
Which FX, bravo.
Says a lot about
Yes.
us.
I mean,
But I mean, we want to see some kind of resolution. This is a long, drawn out episode.
Right.
We
Yeah.
want to see something happen. I wanted to see him break 20 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
Personally. What about you guys?
No,
think
I
it-
agree completely.
Yeah,
I
agreed.
feel like the episode should have ended when the cop showed up.
Me too.
That would have let us have something to
cliffhanger.
hang on to for next week.
That's really interesting because the play out through that end, that what I perceived to be the ending as well. I think we were all surprised that there was more to the episode. And then we see where Lauren's going. We go to Duluth. We are introduced to Colin Hanks' character. Yay, Colin Hanks! Gus Grimley, which seems to have no real association other than
Not yet.
there's some sort of trail of mayhem that this guy is leading us down.
and he lets him go.
He lets him go because he's so effective
Yeah.
at scrambling his brains and threatening his child and threatening what's important.
I feel like though too, like, I mean, this is kind of jumping ahead, but they didn't, like you said, if they had ended it where we thought they were going to end it, there would be so many questions and so many, oh my gosh, where is this going? And I still feel like, where is this going? But I'm not like on the edge of my seat to find out like I would have been. Like, I don't feel like they left a lot of.
But I don't think that in the film I was ever really on the edge of my seat.
Right.
It was just sort of a situation being explained.
Interesting.
It was a
Okay.
story being told, and there was not all of these like crazy manic rising and falling actions. It was just like,
That's true.
You know,
That's very Coen Brothers.
And very Coen Brothers,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like we kind of come to expect
It was
this.
like,
Yeah.
these are the facts.
yeah.
Take
do
them as
with
you
them
will.
what
Right,
you will.
right.
So what I think is interesting is that where this seems to be taking us is essentially what what Lorne says. That's his name? So weird. Some roads you just shouldn't go down.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of wondering, is this series going to be that road that we shouldn't
go
have gone
down?
down, or we should go down, or what on earth? Where are they taking us with this?
I just want to know, because it has to be about a series of murders. Otherwise, why else would we be watching it? Why else would they be telling us this story? If it's about a series of murders committed by one person.
But half of the characters are only in it for half of the season.
Which is
Right.
very
But
confusing.
Which
Sometimes
is very
IMDb is a
confusing.
little.
I don't know, like
Sometimes it's
I
out
just
of date.
I mean, we don't know if it's true or not.
Right.
We just kind of go off whatever it says, but I can't figure it out. And I think that's what's bothering me the most, like the takeaway, the length, but also not being able to figure out how long do we have to make a commitment to these characters.
Right.
I totally agree with you. I think that's it's unsettling and discomforting, which is what I loved about the film, was that it was so wrong. Everything about it was so wrong, and there was no even ending. There was no happy ending. It
No,
was
there
like
was-
everything's messed up. This is life.
the end.
Deal with it, and you're just sitting there going, "Wow, my mind
Well,
is
because
blown."
if it's a true story, and you're stating it as a fact, it's like life doesn't have a happy ending. It doesn't get wrapped up in a pretty
doesn't?
package.
No, but I feel like life happens that way. Like they're giving us an accurate depiction of sort of how it happens out there. We
Oh, geez.
I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
In
Aw,
Minnesota,
geez.
how things happen in Minnesota.
yeah,
Functional.
it's a simple life, and the way that the cops investigate things, and
Pretty slow.
These cops, I'm just gonna say, these cops, even in the film and on the TV show now, the cops are very astute and they figure things out very quickly.
Except for I liked cause of death for Sam Hess.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
mid thrust.
Self-evident.
but she kind of puts together things very, very quickly. I mean, even in the film, they put things together in a very short period of time, and they figured, oh, he, walked out of his car, he stopped
Which
him
I
over
think
and shot these two guys.
may
and he came
be
back, put him
what
in the
makes
car.
her a target in the long run.
Yeah.
Right? Because she is rather clever.
Right.
She is rather clever.
But I don't know how many polarities there are going to be from the movie to
Right.
the show. But
So we know that the film is essentially the basis. Yeah. Like, this is going to be based off, but what we also know is that it's a 10-episode order.
Right.
We've got a couple different writers, a couple different directors, and also we have this amazing cast, but like we said, we like to do our research on IMDb. Most of them are only say they're appearing a handful of times. So I think, to Jillian's point, it's rather confusing. We like to go into a series knowing what we're going to get, and this is like
but like
spaghetti against the wall.
People are only showing up for 5 episodes. Who's to say which 5 episodes they are?
Right. I was going to say it could be like 2 or a couple different stories that kind of meet in the middle.
And then intersect. Yeah.
No, you're right, because eventually, fingers crossed, we're going to have one of the characters calling in later in the season, because his character becomes more active later in the season. He was introduced in this first episode, but we really don't know about his story until, the last few episodes. So stay tuned for that, because that'll be really exciting. But I don't know how I feel about it. I'm so mixed. Like,
pilots are so hard.
Pilots are really hard.
It's difficult. I mean, I think they did a really good job at introducing us to the character, introducing us to the world that we're living in.
Right.
The time that it is, and sort of who these people are. Where they're going to go is, it's still up in the air.
I mean, they for sure set the mood.
Yes, they sure did.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people died in this episode?
1,
3?
I was trying to think
3.
4, including the deer.
4. Let's
There are
count the deer.
people too.
We're animal people.
And we have a few beatings, right, at the hands of Lauren's shit stirring, if you will.
Yes. So 2 beatings.
And I was just looking at the actual plot outline that they gave us, because it's so abstract, and all it says is a drifter named Lorne Malvo arrives in a small town Minnesota and influences the population with his malice and violence.
Interesting.
Including put upon insurance salesman Lester Nygaard.
So, is that for tonight's episode or for the whole series?
That's the plot for the series.
Okay, so it seems like from that description it's going to be about Lester and Lauren.
And I was watching sort of the vignettes that they've been posting on YouTube and tweeting out.
Yeah.
And basically what the actors are saying is every single time we sit in front of the screen and watch it, it's going to be like a mini movie every time.
Okay.
Whether that means that it's going to be 97 minutes.
We need to find out, first of all.
Yeah, we need to find out for
We need someone to let us
here. But, we have to expect sort of an epic. When you put it all together, it's going to be a massive amount of television. And it's so Coen Brothers, it's so slow moving. Like, I feel like we could have completely done without the scene with the hopefully new police chief and her father.
Right.
Yes.
Like, that was unnecessary to me. There were just so many little tiny things.
Unnecessary now.
Yeah.
We don't know that. I mean, obviously he owns a restaurant, so that could come into play later. We don't know.
That's true.
We know there's one motel. There may be one, or there's only a couple restaurants.
Yeah,
I mean,
like a
there aren't
diner.
many places to go here.
Well, that's in that town.
Right.
We've moved towns already.
Yeah.
I'm not
Duluth.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I really enjoyed it, but I felt the exact same way in the sense of where on earth is this going?
Yeah.
Right.
Do I want to be invested in these characters? I don't know.
I think I can make
That's the idea.
fair assessment after next episode.
Yeah. And it usually takes a few episodes in
Hopefully.
to figure it out.
Because there's hardly been, I can think of like a handful of pilots where I've been like, oh my gosh, that was incredible, and then it stayed incredible for me.
Right.
Usually you're
client
like,
list?
well, yeah, clearly the client list was fantastic.
So I want to talk about FX and what they're doing here.
Okay.
Because this is the second show now that they are producing that's this anthology series, much like our beloved American Horror Story. And I'm wondering, though, what about this show, this topic, Fargo, made them want to do that? Or if it's more of a model to be able to grab big headlining names that they only have to get into a contract for a year.
Well, Fargo is a cult classic film.
Right. I was going to say it has a lot of fans.
The Coen brothers have a huge following. It is an acquired taste, so
Right.
not everybody's going to like this show. We happen to be fans of the film, so we can sort of get behind what's happening right now.
Right.
But it is a very particular style.
Yes.
So I think that more actors are moving towards doing these types of series, like we saw with HBO and True Detective. That was an 8-episode order. They got huge actors. They're going to
Amazing.
continue getting that pull, and I think that it's just nice because as opposed to a film, there's more opportunity to explore a character in a TV series, and really that's what actors are into. Like, we think that a lot of them them are in it for the money, but also some of them really like to work.
Right.
And they like to put in the work and do the character development. So that's sort of my theory behind all of that stuff. And I think that this is where TV is going.
Agreed.
And it also allows you to do a series and explore a character for so long,
And then go on to other things.
Then move on to something else,
Right.
which is really wonderful because you get to explore the character from A to Z in a full series, which is 10 episodes here,
Right.
or 13 on American Horror Story, and then move on to something else.
Or be a different character. on
Or
the
be a
same
different
show.
character on the same show.
And I agree with you, Jillian, that this is really seems like this is where television is going right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
they're essentially making long episodic films, pretty much. You know, like you said, True Detective is going the same
Incredible
route,
show.
amazing show. And I'm hoping that I'm hoping that this will be repeated well and not taken advantage of.
Yeah.
You know,
Agreed.
by putting the anthology type.
Well, I always think that it has to do with who's directing it,
Right.
which actors are being attached to it, how big your budget is. You know what I mean? Because we've seen even with this show and even American Horror Story, the budgets are quite nice,
Right.
And the quality is really
Cinematic
incredible.
quality.
It's very
Yes.
cinematic.
Yeah.
It's not like crap TV.
And I mean, they're pulling people that we want to see, like Bob Odenkirk from Breaking Bad.
Yes.
He's in it. Key and Peele,
Yeah.
the comedians, they're going to be in it later in the
Yeah.
season.
Kate Walsh.
Kate
Yeah.
Walsh, by the
What?
way.
Oh my
How
God.
amazing did she look?
Divine.
Yeah. For one episode. She's in
Yeah.
it for one episode. I mean,
I know.
great
tease.
surprise.
Great
but,
surprise and tease.
so good to see, oh, I know that person.
Right.
Oh, and I love her.
I wonder how many people were friends of the people producing or directing, because
Right.
I feel like also it's one of those things where you pull in the people that you really like to work with.
Yeah.
It's like one of those Hollywood games where it's like, oh, Colin Hanks, he's great. Let's see if we can get him. I know him. Whatever. It's just, it seems like it's going to be one of those things.
I hope so, in the best
Yeah.
way possible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
I
that
mean, of
there's-
course. I mean, everyone's super talented on the show.
I like that there's a lot of characters too. I like that, I don't know, there's so many different ways it can go then.
Yeah.
There's a lot of possibilities.
Yeah.
We do need to do our research to make sure that it is not 97 minutes every
Right.
time. If it is,
let
we
us
will
know
be
if you know.
we'll be adjusting our schedule. But I feel like we do need to keep it short because we had a long episode there for a short show today.
Yeah.
But we didn't get a chance to see the preview because we
not.
had to run into the studio. So I'm wondering, this is going to be totally organic of what our predictions might be.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So the last time we see Lester in the hospital bed, he pulls out his right hand, and David pointed out that he thinks it was like the kickback from the hammer that created a hole in this part of his hand.
Yeah, what is that even called?
The fleshy
like
part.
that.
The
The fleshy
fleshy
part,
part,
sure.
yeah. There's a pressure point in there. So I am curious to see the fallout from that. I think that it's going to be cyclical until either Billy Bob Thornton's character dies or this character dies. I mean, IMDb says they're only in it for 5 episodes each, so...
The same 5?
Huh?
The same 5, does it say?
I didn't. No, it just
Okay.
said 5 episodes, 5 episodes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't really know. I'm excited to see somebody get punished.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think that...
Another somebody?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of
Kind
the
of
film, justice was served.
Right.
So I'm hoping that by the end of the series, justice is served. I don't think it's going to happen until the end, though, because that is sort of the Coen brothers' resolution.
Right.
Justice is served, fade to black.
Uh-huh.
And that's
Have
it.
they said whether, this is going to be 10 episodes and that's it? There's not going to be anything
They
after?
want to have second and third seasons.
They do?
Yes.
Okay.
But
right now
that's why they
it's-
said anthology, so that don't expect the second season to be highly reflective of the first, or
Gotcha.
even have the same characters or same cast.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I'm looking for some punishment. I don't think it's going to happen ultimately, but I always like to see... Because he was like a good guy turned bad. So I kind of want to see him go down.
Lester?
Lester.
Okay. I think next week is going to focus in this new town in Minnesota. We're going to focus a lot on Colin Hanks' character, and we're going to get introduced more into his world and his family, and less on Lester.
Agreed.
That's all I've got for now, for next week. But I'm looking forward to seeing where the journey that they're going to take us on. I'm really intrigued.
I get that impression as well. That was really the only thing I kind of took away. And then I really feel like they focus a lot on the female cop, and I don't know if it was just this episode, but I feel like we're going to see a lot of her next episode as well.
Totally agreed. I think we're going to see more of her. I mean, I feel like it was all foreshadowing. This whole this whole episode, when we talk about, the sign that we saw, maybe you're right and they're wrong.
Right.
That idea of, we know best, or this one singular character knows best and is going to go against the grain and make bad decisions.
Yeah.
So I think she's the one that's going to be holding people accountable, but we know from the film, it hasn't always been easy. People don't take the female cops seriously.
Right.
So that's kind of where I see it going. And we'll recap next time, and we'll tell you all about it. I want to find out where everyone can find you guys, and also what other projects you're working on too.
Sure. So you can find me on Twitter at Jillian Leff, on Instagram at Jilly Leff. I just did a Spotlight On interview with Days of Our Lives actor Guy Wilson. So if you want to check that out, check it out. He's awesome.
That's on AfterBuzz TV.
Yeah, AfterBuzzTV.com. And I also have another one coming up with an actress on The Goldbergs. So tune in for that.
Nice. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at You Can Call Me Skiff.
I am on Twitter at Sarah on the Go, Sarah with an H.
And of course, you can find me on Twitter. I'm Oriana Leo at Miss Oriana Leo. Instagram is at Oriana Leo. And you can check out my website, orianaleo.com. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Please tweet at us. We love interacting with our fans. I know we are going to be tweeting with the hashtag Augies. And we may have to come up
think of a nickname.
with a name for our fans.
Yes.
But you guys are going to have to inspire us. Yeah. So stay tuned. Till next time.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.